What's up, YouTube? It's Kenny again. I am back. Wanted to make a video today. We're going to talk about quite a few things. We're going to talk about like what's going on in this last week. Tell you about how my home time went. And I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. Okay, I'm going to bust out my crystal ball today. All right. So before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a truck driver driving across the country, researching and trading stocks, and I will not be held responsible for any moves you make in the stock market. Not ever. I am not your mama. Do your own research, make your own decisions, and take responsibility for those decisions. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me, and all you guys hit that like button. Like the video, it helps push out to more people, and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think about what I got to talk about today. And then if you want to support the channel, please join the Patreon. The link is in the description below. All that money goes into its own account on M1 Finance, and I update about that periodically. So yeah, join the fucking Patreon, all right? So I'm back from home time. It was a little bit longer than what I normally take for home time. Got blasted at a bar a couple of times. Got so blasted night before last that I woke up yesterday still drunk. And I was like, oh man, I gotta leave this afternoon. So I spent the day, eating good food and taking naps and got all recuperated. We got loaded up yesterday evening, and then I just went ahead and stopped and slept. And here we go, headed back to Illinois to get back in the cut for the craft dedicated. I got a lot of stuff accomplished over the time I was at home, and also had a good time. So it was a nice, productive home time, right? I got all my stuff, moved out of my ex's house, who's been storing it for me for the last couple of years. Got all that put into a storage. Got my musical instruments that are heat sensitive, put them at a buddy of mine's house. Tried to figure out the oil leak on my pickup truck, spent some time and money on that. Got myself a new set of Uggs. So I spent more money than I expected to, but we're still doing all right. And some other stuff I got accomplished too. Basically, I drove 3 hours to go see my kid who is about to move to Washington. So I got that out of the way. Just accomplished a lot of things while I was in. Now, in the stock market, guys, so we had that big 115% move on OEG. And of course, you expect after a move like that for it to pull back and stabilize. And it pulled back a little more than I hoped it would. Put me back in the red. If I'd have had my crystal ball, I would have sold it high and then bought back in at these levels right here. But, it's whatever. I expect it to go up still. So I'm fine with it. Lordstown Motors. Here we go again. Had another 20% move, another 5-6% move the next day. Put us in the green. I went from being at a $600 deficit on that stock to being in the green. Hyliion moved, got us in the green on Hyliion. Still, both of those are still in the red a little bit in the cash account because I didn't average down, but in the Roth, they're both up. So what this means is it brings the Roth from being at somewhere around a 20% return to now being an over 25% return right now. We're up over 10,000. 10,000 is a 25% return on the money that I have physically put in there over the last 11 months. The actual 1 year point will be in about a month, and then we'll see where we're at. But right now on the Roth, we're at about a 25% return. The cash account is just barely down, about 2 or 3% down, and the M1 Finance, last I checked, it was up about 12%. So we're doing pretty well across all the accounts. All right. Had a good week last week. Enphase still struggling a little bit, but they're getting hit by this semiconductor shortage, and I expect once that passes, it's going to come back up. So here we go. Okay, now I am not a financial advisor. I am not your mama. I don't actually have a crystal ball. I will not be held responsible. But I'm going to bust my crystal ball out today, okay? I don't usually do this and throw out price predictions and stuff like that. But I got to say, guys, my prediction predictions about these stocks have been going pretty much as planned. I mean, they have been doing exactly pretty much what I've thought they were going to do. So I want to put these predictions out here and then come back and look at them later, and we'll see where we ended up, okay? So all these predictions are going to be for the end of the year. So at some point during the next 6 months, this is what I expect those stocks to do. Now, I'm not saying they're going to stay at those levels. I'm not saying that there won't be a up and then another down. But I'm saying that over the next 6 months, at some point, I expect these stocks to do this, okay? Enphase. I expect Enphase to hit $200 at some point over the next 6 months. Now, these are conservative estimates, and I think that they will do better than this by the end of the year, okay, just to be clear. But I think that Enphase will hit $200 at some point over the next 6 months, okay? OEG. I expect OEG to hit $9 at some point over the next 6 months. These are conservative estimates, okay? That's what I expect from OEG, $9. I expect Hyliion to get back to 16 at some point over the next several months, and I really, honestly, that's way too conservative. I think Hyliion will be back up above 20 once the ERX comes out. So let's just say 20. I'm going to say I expect Hyliion to hit 20 at some point over the next 6 months. Lordstown Motors. I'm going to say Lordstown Motors hits $19 at some point over the next 6 months. I think it will go higher than that, but we're going to say $19 on Lordstown Motors. So that's 20 for Hyliion, $200 for Enphase, $9 for OEG, and what did I say? 19 for Lordstown Motors over the next 6 months at some point, okay? That doesn't mean I expect that's where they'll be at the end of the year. I'm saying that at some point, these stocks are going to go up to those levels, whether they come back down or not, at some point over the next 6 months, okay? Those are my predictions. That's my crystal ball. I could be completely wrong. They could go to zero. Do not base your financial decisions on what I'm saying. That's just my thesis of what I believe those stocks are going to hit, okay? I'm not your mama. I'm going to say it 100 times in this video. I'm not your mama. I will not be held responsible. Do your own research. These are my opinions. Now, I want to talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? Because I've been, as you know, building positions using the Grayscale trusts in the Roth IRA and directly through Webull. Been doing more research, okay? And I still am the most confident in Bitcoin, okay? I think that because it's a scarcity model, meaning that there can only be 21 million Bitcoin. That's the maximum. As they continue to mine it, it gets harder and harder to mine. Right now, there have been around 19 million mined already. So there are only 2 more million Bitcoin that can be mined. It's a scarcity model. It's similar to gold, which is why they call it digital gold. There's only so much gold that exists, and so therefore it's scarce. And the more people that buy it, the more expensive it gets, okay? Bitcoin, I think, is the one moving into the future that for sure is going to be worth a bunch of money, okay? My price target for Bitcoin is $90,000 at some point before the end of the year. I think it hits $90,000, all right? I'm not going to make long-term predictions, but I do agree with some of these bulls who say it could reach $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 over the next several years, okay? I feel like that's a possibility. But I do think that we will see $90,000 before the end of the year. Ethereum, it kind of moves with Bitcoin, okay? I expect we could see 6,000 before the end of the year at some point on Ethereum. It could go higher than that, but I'm going to say 6,000 at some point before the end of the year. Now, when I look at the two coins, Ethereum is much more difficult to understand the inner workings of it, and its value beyond just a hype is very dependent on the blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, and what happens with that, how much it gets adopted and used, whereas Bitcoin is more of just a straight scarcity model. So I think that Ethereum could do way better than Bitcoin. It's possible that it could do way better than Bitcoin, but I think there is a lot more risk involved over the long term with Ethereum, with Ether, than there is with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is almost assured that eventually institutions are going to start buying it and holding it. And I think that with both of these coins, when ETFs are released, when ETFs become a reality, okay, these companies that create these ETFs are going to have to buy these coins and lock them up. And as that occurs, in particular with Bitcoin, as more of those coins are taken off the market and locked up in these ETF and funds and stuff, the more scarce it becomes, the more valuable it becomes. I see Bitcoin doing big things, okay? And I am becoming more and more bullish on it the more research I do. And so I am focusing more heavily on Bitcoin and buying some Ethereum, and that's where I'm at with that. So those are my price targets. I busted out my crystal ball. It's the first time that I've ever done that. But you guys can see that so far, the things that I'm saying are playing out. I said OEG, I said Lordstown Motors, and both of these have gone on these runs and are trying to run. Hyliion too, but Hyliion, we've got to wait, a little bit longer on Hyliion, but the hype could pick up. And Enphase, I believe, over the long term is going to do extremely well. Okay, so these are my price predictions. If you want to support the channel, join the fucking Patreon and support the channel. It supports my retirement. These big YouTubers don't need your money. I need your money so I'm not living under a bridge when I'm 60. Okay? So consider supporting the channel with whatever you can afford, the Patreon. And yeah, leave me a comment down below. Let me know how dumb I am with these predictions. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And everybody like the video. Everybody give me some likes today. I'm busting out my crystal ball. I'm putting it out there. Like the video. Thanks for watching.